And we begin from the nation's capital, where the meeting between the organized labor and the federal government over the withdrawal of petrol subsidy payment has ended in a deadlock. The two parties refuse to shift grounds as the federal government hopes to continue negotiation and also provide interventions that will ease the suffering of Nigerians. But for organized labor, they want the federal government to revert to status quo and properly plan before stopping payment of petrol subsidy. TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde has details.
Members of the organized labor coming out of a meeting with the federal government over the contentious issue of the withdrawal of petrol subsidy. But it appears for now, the closed-door meeting will not translate into anything meaningful for Nigerians who have been hit with the impact of the withdrawal of fuel subsidy payments.
Mr. President called for a meeting of government and the labor.
The federal government is optimistic that the impasse will be amicably resolved, but it did not budge in its earlier decision to stop payment of petrol subsidy as they continue holding talks towards a favorable outcome.
Necessarily, labor unions will be agitated if there's any slight change in any price of any commodity, whether it's fuel, whether it's garri or bread. Labor will be agitated. That is what we are talking about. But in terms of pricing, you cannot control price when there is a deregulation. So there is a deregulation. The price you have today could go up tomorrow, could go down tomorrow. There will be interventions. We're not calling it palliative this around, but there will be interventions, at least so that the impact on the poorest of the poor in the society would be very minimal.
The petrol crisis is a litmus test for President Bola Tinubu. His administration will have to delicately handle a crisis that has festered since the previous administration. Organized labor is also not mincing words. They want the federal government to revert to status quo, consult widely with critical stakeholders, and put in place measures that will minimize the impact of the fuel subsidy removal.
We go back to status quo, negotiate, think of alternatives and all the effects and how to manage the effects this action is going to have on the people. If it is an action that must take off, the subsidy provision has been made up to the end of June. And before then, conscious people, labor, management, government should be able to think of what will happen at the end of June.
Yes, if you listen to the president during the inauguration at Eagle Square, he said that one of the hallmarks of this administration is going to be dialogue, it's going to be consultation, and that that this will be the hallmark, that they are not going to lord it over us, trying to paraphrase what he said, and not to be a dictator. So if you read it, it is clearly written there. And what has happened in terms of, as at today, has not shown what was written in his address.
As the days in the life of the Bola Tinubu presidency begins to count, Nigerians will hope for some quick fixes that will reduce the impact of the withdrawal of petrol subsidy payments on the standard of living in the